Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, dear devotees, for joining. This is the ISKCON of New Jersey Zoom channel, and we have been waiting very eagerly for this very special presentation by Acyuta Gopi Devi Dasi. She is presented in the past on this forum, and the devotees are very excited and appreciative of her classes in the past, and so today is no exception. We're looking very much forward to it. And those of you, who know Acyuta Gopi, she is a world-class Kirtan leader, of course, but some of you may not know that she is also the author of an award-winning book called Prema Mala. And of course, she's not only a great Kirtan leader, she's a Grammy-nominated artist. And she has served in so many different capacities in the movement. She's a Kirtaniya, of course, she's a Sunday school teacher, Pujari, she's a Vedic historian, and she has very deep love for Sri Sri Radha Govinda Dev, the very world famous deities in our New York temple. Of course, she's born in a very exalted family of devotees, and we really look forward to hearing from her this evening. Thank you very much. Acyuta Gopi, I pass it on to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much to Madan Gopal Prabhu and Yashodalal Prabhu for setting up these wonderful sanghas. Thank you for having me again. It's always a most awaited pleasure of mine as well. So thank you. And thank you to all of my senior Vaishnavas and spiritual master uncles who join and give me their well wishes and their blessings so that I can somehow make my Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada proud. So, of course, before we start, let me offer my obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, to my spiritual master, to all the devotees. Om Agyantamidandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Tadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shanyavadi Paspati Deshcharini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So this evening's exploration is called The Opulence and Sweetness of Lord Shri Krishna, after a chapter in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita of the same name. So within Madhya Lila, chapter 21, we find this chapter. And this comes in a series of instructions that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives to Srila Sanatana Goswami over the course of 10 days. My wonderful uncle Chadaratma Prabhu once pointed out that Ramadan is a month-long celebration of when Muhammad was given such instructions from God. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we as Vaishnavas could have these celebrations and fasting days where the different acharyas would receive instructions from God? But then he also realized that there are so many acharyas receiving so many instructions that we'd probably never stop fasting. So in this way, there's 10 days where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is able to give wonderful, glorious instructions on devotional service and devotional life to Srila Sanatana Goswami. And in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, where this chapter is also echoed and summarized by our beloved Srila Prabhupada, it begins, since Lord Chaitanya is especially merciful to innocent, unsophisticated persons, his name is also Patita Pavana, the deliverer of the most fallen conditioned souls. Although a conditioned soul may be fallen to the lowest position, It is possible for him to advance in spiritual science if he is innocent. Sanatana Goswami was considered to be fallen according to the Hindu social system because he was in the service of the Mohammedan government. Indeed, he had even been excommunicated from the Brahminical society due to his employment. But because he was a sincere soul, Lord Chaitanya showed him special favor by granting him a wealth of spiritual information. So I've come across a lot of questions, especially over the past few months, people wondering, what does it take to get to know Krishna and to progress in devotional life? What if I'm not considered a PhD graduate? What if I don't have a master's degree? What if I didn't go to college? What if I'm not even considered smart by materialistic viewpoints? What if I am considered to have a learning disability by material standards? What does that mean for me in the greater course of spiritual life? And I love this section because really, this is the essence of all that Mahaprabhu really wants: innocence and sincerity. And I find that those are things that are available to any and every heart, which, as we have heard, I'm sure, throughout this Purushottam month, through the prayers of Lord Brahma himself, he says one can't understand Krishna through the speculative knowledge. Krishna is so inconceivable. We have to depend somehow on our love. We have to depend on that wealth of devotional service. And how do we get it? Just by being sincere and innocent. This is my saving grace. I am not a person that was ever very good at math and science. But the science of Krishna consciousness, that I could somehow wrap my mind around. And even then, there are sections in Srimad Bhagavatam where I find myself reading and thinking, okay, I'm going to read this and then hopefully the grace of Krishna will carry me through. And I'm going to hope and pray that everything just somehow reveals itself, because I'm going to try my utmost just to have a sincere and innocent heart. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would often say, and my Guru Maharaj likes to quote this very much, that Mahaprabhu would say he would take us back to Godhead if we could just do two things: chant the holy names and not criticize others. It sounds so simple. And somehow it gets really difficult when we get into the process of trying to chant the holy names and just remain simple-hearted, innocent, sincere devotees who are not envious, not criticizing others. Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj also would make this point, that this is not the movement for duplicity and hypocrisy. This Kali Yuga already is filled with hypocrisy. Let us be simple-hearted. Let us just be sincere and authentic and genuine. So it doesn't matter what our qualifications look like externally. Internally, Krishna is just looking for us to try our best. And that for me is such a gift that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considered that the qualification for which he would then grant the wealth of spiritual information. And indeed he does. He gives a whole wealth of spiritual information to Srila Sanatana Goswami on the topic of being simple-hearted and innocent. His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj has a book called Spiritual Tonic. And in that book, there is a sweet, small pastime about Lord Vamanadev. As a little dwarf, Vamana looked very beautiful. He had a nice little belly and carried an umbrella. He looked extremely optimistic and wonderful. As he was on his way to the sacrificial arena of Bali Maharaj, he came to a river where there was a Brahmana on the other side. The Brahman had meditated for many lifetimes on Lord Vamandev. Vamanadev saw him and thought, here is my devotee. Wonderful. I will bless him today. The Lord told the Brahman, I'm very small. I cannot cross the river. Can you please come over and carry me? The Brahmin saw this little person who looked so sweet with his umbrella. He said, sure, sure. Just wait one moment. And he went across the river and took Vamana's 2 little feet on his head and walked back. When they came to the middle of the river, Vamanadev put his hand around the head of his Brahmin devotee. The Brahmin devotee felt very ecstatic. As he was continuing to carry him, he realized, this is my Lord. He began to feel the feet. Yes, there are all the impressions on the soles of his feet. He was totally ecstatic to hold his Lord. He said, my Lord, don't disguise yourself any longer. I know you are my Lord Vamanadev. No, no, said Vamanadev. I'm just a poor Brahmin. I'm a little short in stature. Please just carry me over. Vamanadev had a mission. He didn't want to be known as Vishnu when he entered the sacrificial arena. He wanted to be known as an ordinary little Brahmin. So he tried to stop his devotee from seeing him, because the devotee might run around and tell, I've seen my Lord, I've seen my Lord. And then his trick of asking for 3 steps of land would not work. But the devotee can see his Lord always by the eyes of bhava, the eyes of love. You cannot see Krishna in any other way. The Brahmin said, I know you are the Lord. If you don't reveal yourself to me, I will drown. Vamanadev said, all right, all right. And he revealed his beautiful transcendental form. But, he said, don't tell Bali Maharaj or anyone else. I have a plan in mind. I want to take the whole universe from him. By asking for 3 steps of land, I will take such big steps that everything will be covered by my steps. So this is the heart of the devotee, the heart that we all yearn for, that just with our simple-hearted nature and eyes filled with love for Krishna, that he will reveal not only himself, but the wealth of all of our spiritual treasure along with him. So this chapter begins by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu telling Sanatana Goswami about the opulence of Krishna's abode. So Krishna's abode is 4 parts, as we hear within Brahma Samhita. 1/4 is this material existence, which magically is somehow even within the Lord's structure. Although temporary, it still resides within the Lord's eternal structure. The other 3/4 are the spiritual world, his Vaikuntha Loka, his Goloka Vrindavan, so many innumerable planets that the Lord inhabits and enacts unlimited pastimes in. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu makes a point of saying that these places are incalculable. The Lord's potency and opulence is so overwhelming. In trying to understand and explain just how vast the Lord's opulence is, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu narrates one story. And it's a story about Lord Brahma. And I think it's befitting because this month of Purushottam, it is advised to read the prayers of Lord Brahma. So here we get to witness what Lord Brahma himself will see once again as he comes in contact with Krishna. Once, when Krishna was ruling Dwarka, Lord Brahma came to see him, and the doorman immediately informed Lord Krishna of Brahma's arrival. When Krishna was so informed, he immediately asked the doorman, "Which Brahma? What is his name?" The doorman therefore returned and questioned Lord Brahma. When the doorman asked, "Which Brahma?" Lord Brahma was surprised. He told the doorman, "Please go inform Lord Krishna that I am the four-headed Brahma, who is the father of the four Kumaras." The doorman then informed Lord Krishna of Lord Brahma's description, and Lord Krishna gave him permission to enter. The doorman escorted Lord Brahma in, and as soon as Brahma saw Lord Krishna, he offered obeisances at his lotus feet. After being worshipped by Lord Brahma, Lord Krishna also honored him with suitable words. Then Lord Krishna asked him, "Why have you come here?" Being questioned, Lord Brahma immediately replied, "Later I shall tell you why I have come. First of all, there is a doubt in my mind, which I wish you would kindly dissipate. Why did you inquire which Brahma had come to see you? What is the purpose of such an inquiry? Is there any other Brahma besides me within this universe?" Upon hearing this, Sri Krishna smiled and immediately meditated. Unlimited Brahmas arrived instantly. These Brahmas had different numbers of heads. Some had 10 heads, some 20, some 100, some 1,000, some 10,000, some 100,000, some 10 million, and others 100 million. No one can count the number of faces they had. There also arrived many Lord Shivas with various heads numbering 100,000 and 10 million. Many Indras also arrived, and they had hundreds of thousands of eyes all over their bodies. When the four-headed Brahma of this universe saw all these opulences of Krishna, he became very much bewildered and considered himself a rabbit among many elephants. Srila Prabhupada, in this regard, he also states that he considered himself to be like a mosquito among many elephants. All the Brahmas who came to see Krishna offered their respects at his lotus feet, and when they did this, their helmets touched his lotus feet. No one can estimate the inconceivable potency of Krishna. All the Brahmas who were there were resting in the one body of Krishna. When all the helmets struck together at Krishna's lotus feet, there was a tumultuous sound. It appeared that the helmets themselves were offering prayers unto Krishna's lotus feet. With folded hands, all the Brahmas and Shivas began to offer prayers unto Lord Krishna, saying, "O Lord, you have shown me a great favor. I have now been able to see your lotus feet." All of them then said, "It is my great fortune, Lord, that you have called me, thinking of me as your servant. Now let me know what your order is, so that I may carry it on my heads." Lord Krishna replied, "Since I wanted to see all of you together, I have called you all here. All of you should be happy. Is there any fear from the demons? Whatever burden was upon the earth, you have taken away by descending to that planet," the Brahmas replied. This is the proof of Dwarka's opulence. All the Brahmas thought, Krishna is now staying in my jurisdiction. Thus, the opulence of Dwarka was perceived by each and every one of them. Although they were all assembled together, no one could see anyone but himself. Lord Krishna then bade farewell to all the Brahmas there, and after offering their obeisances, they all returned to their respective homes. After observing all these opulences, the four-headed Brahma of this universe was astonished. He again came before the lotus feet of Krishna and offered him obeisances. Brahma then said, "Whatever I formerly decided about my knowledge, I have just now personally verified. There are people who say, I know everything about Krishna. Let them think in that way. As far as I am concerned, I do not wish to speak very much about this matter. Oh, my Lord, let me say this much. As far as your opulences are concerned, they are all beyond the reach of my mind, body, and words. Krishna said, "Your particular universe has a diameter of 4 billion miles. Therefore, it is the smallest of all the universes. Consequently, you have only 4 heads." Talk about a blow to the ego. We think about our material universe, and scientists are now saying that there are more universes than there are grains of sand on all of the beaches on the entire planet Earth. More universes, not like more, planets, more universes. And this Brahma is in charge of just the smallest one. Sometimes we think of ourselves to be extremely important, and we think of our earthly problems to be extremely important. There are memes that have like the hashtag first world problems, where we think, oh, my charger to my phone broke and now I can't charge my phone. And this is like, it's ruining my entire day. And there are people that don't have phones and are still surviving. And there are people that don't have 3 square meals and are still surviving. They walk miles to get clean water and they're surviving. So they have these hashtags, first world problems. And I feel like this is what happens when we decide the importance of our one universe, our one earth, our one country. And we think about everything in terms of that, in terms of these designations where I am the center, I'm most important. Here, Lord Brahma mercifully is showing through this example of his own humility. This is like the supreme macro version of like first world problems. Looking at this whole thing saying, wow, okay, I thought that I had come to see Krishna, I was a very important person. And now Krishna is telling him, your universe is the smallest. And consequently, you have only 4 heads. Some of the universes are 1 billion yojanas in diameter, some 1 trillion, some 10 trillion, and some 100 trillion yojanas. Thus, they are almost unlimited in area. 1 yojana is equal to 8 miles. So we can only imagine how inconceivably large this creation is. And still, the point that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is trying to make, that it is only 1/4 of the entire creation. According to the size of the universe, there are so many heads on the body of Brahma. In this way, I maintain innumerable universes or Brahmandas. No one can measure the length and breadth of the 1/4 of my energy manifested in the material world. Who then can measure the 3/4 that is manifested in the spiritual world? We hear of a similar occurrence from the pages of Sri Garga Samhita. In many yugas, when the Lord is to appear as Sri Krishna, all of the demigods gather together, hearing Bhumi Devi's cry and plea for help, that there are so many burdens upon this earth, she doesn't know what to do, where to go. And so she journeys to Lord Brahma. All of the demigods gather together and they go to Svetadweep, the abode of Lord Vishnu. And in some cases, it is told that Lord Vishnu then says, you need Krishna in his original form. That's like looking at the state of things. You need the most potent medication that there could ever be. Let's go and beseech Krishna to make his appearance. So they all journey to the topmost planet of Goloka Vrindavan. But they can only do so with the help of Lord Vishnu. So they arrive at the topmost planet of Goloka Vrindavan, and there are gatekeepers. But these gatekeepers are gopis. One such gopi is named Shata Chandranana. She arrives, and as her name describes, she is resplendent as hundreds and millions of moons. And she inquires, who has come to see my Lord? And they say, oh, please tell Lord Krishna that Lord Brahma is here. She says, which Brahma? Lord Brahma says, I don't know of any other Brahmas. I just know of myself. So, well, which universe are you from? It's like, I only know of my one universe. She says, you people think yourself so important that you don't even know that there are unlimited universes and unlimited Brahmas? How am I supposed to tell my Lord who has come to see him? At this moment, Lord Vishnu speaks up. He says, please tell Lord Krishna that we have arrived from that material universe where Lord Trivikram, Lord Vamanadev's toe, poked through the covering and the Ganges flowed through. And then it said that this Gopi praises Lord Vishnu. He has wonderful good sense. I will tell my Lord. I'm sure this will allow you entrance. So not only does Lord Vishnu have to bring them there, but then he has to give them the intelligence by which they can enter the supreme abode. So this is the state of our existence. We are often like mosquitoes in the company of elephants, thinking ourselves to be the center of the universe, trying hard to become masters and controllers of all that we see. Even understanding that it's an impossible task, and yet we still get caught up in our minds. But if we can, in understanding that no one can conceive of the potency of Krishna, if in that way we can understand our humble position, in that we are so small and insignificant almost, our lives are not even that long. 100 earth years is nothing to Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma lives 100 years of his time, which to us is something like 311 trillion years. We can't even conceive of the lifespan of the creator of this one smallest universe. So we can understand our very, very tiny position and our tiny existence, and not in a defeatist way, but in a way of thinking that once I actually realize how small I am and how insignificant this existence is, then all of a sudden, because I am developing that sincerity and that truth about the nature of who I am, Krishna will ultimately bestow his mercy, because he is Patita Pavana, bestowing his mercy on the most insignificant. That's us. We win already, just by understanding our fallen position. So within this chapter, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes on to describe not only the opulence of Krishna, but the sweetness of Krishna's form and the sweetness of his abodes, of which Dwarka is one. Within the pages of the Nectar of Devotion, Srila Prabhupada writes, also tying in the opulence of Krishna with the glorious beauty and sweetness of Sri Krishna, any person who is charitably disposed is called magnanimous. When Krishna was reigning over Dwarka, he was so magnanimous and charitably disposed that there was no limit to his charity. In fact, so great was his charity in Dwarka that even the spiritual kingdom, with all of its opulence of chintamani, touchstones, desire trees, and sarabi cows, was surpassed. In the spiritual kingdom of Lord Krishna, named Goloka Vrindavan, there are sarabi cows which give unlimited quantities of milk. There are desire trees from which anyone can take all kinds of fruits, as much as he may desire. The land is made of touchstone, which when touched to iron will transform it into gold. All of our Harry Potter fanatics, we didn't even need to go searching for a sorcerer's stone. All we had to do was find Krishna. And then he has all the Chintamani stones. In other words, although in the spiritual kingdom, the abode of Krishna, everything is wonderfully opulent, still, when Krishna was in Dwarka, his charity exceeded the opulences of Goloka Vrindavan. Wherever Krishna is present, the limitless opulence of Goloka Vrindavan is automatically present. Sometimes we wonder, what is our wealth and our abundance? Famously, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Acharyas have said, "Oh my Lord, wherever you place your lotus feet, that place is Vrindavan. That place Krishna is fully present. Wherever his deity form is, wherever his picture form is, then the Lord is fully present." And so we have it on good authority that within each and every single one of our homes, all of the opulence of the spiritual world is simultaneously present, along with Shri Krishna. Wherever Krishna is present, the limitless opulence of Goloka Vrindavan is automatically present. It is also stated that while Lord Krishna was living in Dwarka, he expanded himself into 16,108 forms, and each and every expansion resided in a palace with a queen. This reminds me of when all the Brahmas were before Lord Krishna, just thinking, Krishna is only in my jurisdiction. Krishna is only here with me. They didn't even see any of the other Brahmas. Krishna is only within our heart. I hope and pray that we can imbibe this mood. Krishna is only with us. We are Krishna's, and Krishna is ours. My Guru Maharaj loves to quote the verse from Bhagavad-Gita. Once we can understand the true nature of the soul, then we understand that all living entities, all souls are within Krishna, are of Krishna, and belong to Krishna. That belonging to Krishna, he made a point that each and every Paramatma, there is never anything that we could ever do in any body, in any particular life form, that would ever make that Paramatma leave us. Always sitting right next to our souls, always residing just within our hearts, just for the purpose of being our friend, just for the purpose of having loving relationships with each and every one of us. Just as Krishna expanded himself, and every queen is thinking, Krishna only visits my palace. I feel so sorry for the other queens because Krishna is always with me, so he must be neglecting them. We should be expecting Krishna's mercy in this way in our lives. Krishna's mercy is always within my life. I want to pray for the other devotees because I don't know how Krishna can also give it to their lives, but Krishna's mercy is always with me. So not only was Krishna expanding and residing in a palace with each queen, but he was giving in charity from each palace an aggregate number of 13,054 cows, completely decorated with nice clothing and ornaments. From each of Krishna's 16,108 palaces, these cows were being given in charity by Krishna every day. No one can estimate the value of such a large number of cows given in charity. But that was the system of Krishna's daily affairs while he was reigning in Dwarka. Now, I started this lecture off. I said, I'm not good at math. So there is a section within the story of where it said that the true purpose of everything is really to be used in this of Krishna. The true purpose of the eyes are to see the form of the Lord. The true purpose of the nose is to smell the incense and the aroma of the flowers offered to the Lord. So in this way, the true purpose of the calculator, which I am about to use, is to be used in the service of calculating the supposed opulence, which is inconceivable, of our Lord Krishna. So there were 16,108 palaces. And he was giving 13,054 cows from each palace. So 16,108 times 13,054 gives us a grand total of 210,273,832 cows, all with clothing and ornaments given in charity every day. That is the opulence of our Krishna. And wherever Krishna is present, all of this opulence simultaneously, automatically becomes present. Our lives are so incredibly fortunate. Just being able to know Krishna, just being able to know and understand that we can't understand Krishna and his potency and his opulence. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes on to say, my dear Sanatan, the sweet, attractive, transcendental form of Krishna is so nice. Just try to understand it. Even a fractional understanding of Krishna's beauty can merge all three worlds in the ocean of love. He attracts all living entities within the three worlds. The transcendental form of Krishna is shown to the world by Lord Krishna's internal spiritual energy, which is a transformation of pure goodness. This jewel-like form is the most confidential treasure of the devotees. This form is manifested from Krishna's eternal pastimes. The wonderful form of Krishna in his personal feature is so great that it attracts even Krishna to taste his own association. Indeed, Krishna becomes very eager to taste it. Total beauty, knowledge, wealth, strength, fame, and renunciation are the 6 opulences of Krishna. He is eternally situated in these opulences. In that regard, Srila Prabhupada quotes, Vasudev Krishna, even living outside of Vrindavan, often says that he wishes to enjoy like Govinda, who lives in Vrindavan. He wishes to enjoy the form of Govinda so much that he thinks maybe I should become like Radhika and the Gopis, just so that I can taste the sweetness of this form, which is unparalleled within even my estimation. And so we see our beautiful Govinda becomes golden-hued Gauranga, just to be able to taste that sweetness, somehow being able to find out what it is like to be able to relish the form, which is the most treasured jewel of all the devotees. Ornaments caress that body, but the transcendental body of Krishna is so beautiful that it beautifies the ornaments he wears. Therefore, Krishna's body is said to be the ornament of all ornaments. Enhancing the wonderful beauty of Krishna is his 3-curved style of standing. Above all these beautiful features, Krishna's eyes dance and move obliquely, acting like arrows to pierce the minds of Srimati Radharani and the gopis. When the arrow succeeds in hitting its target, their minds become agitated. The beauty of Krishna's body is so attractive that it attracts not only the demigods and other living entities within this material world, but the personalities of the spiritual sky as well, including the Narayans, who are expansions of Krishna's personality. The minds of the Narayans are thus attracted by the beauty of Krishna's body. In addition, the goddesses of fortune, Lakshmis, who are the wives of the Narayans and are the women described in the Vedas as most chaste, are also attracted by the wonderful beauty of Krishna. In the pages of Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita, when the young boy Gopakumar visits Lord Narayan, we hear that Lord Narayan is so happy to see him. He says so many wonderful things. Oh, my boy, I've been waiting so long just to have your association. And as they spend time together, Lord Narayan realizes that Gopakumar is not treating him with the same love and affection the same friendly manner that he had developed with his own Lord, Sri Madan Gopal Krishna. And it says that Lord Narayan even feels a little bit lacking in his heart. He yearns for Gopakumar to drop the formalities and treat him with that same loving attachment that he would treat Madan Gopal. So we see that Lord Narayan is attracted not only to the bodily sweetness of Sri Krishna, but to that sweet reciprocation it has with his devotees. That's relationship where the devotees can speak to Krishna like a family member, where they can drop all the formalities and just think Krishna is my friend, and so he must help me. Where the devotees exert their rights over Krishna, where they sometimes even get angry with Krishna, and where Krishna submits himself to the anger and the attachment and the intense love of his devotees. Even Lord Narayan himself is yearning for this kind of affectionate dealing. Favoring the gopis, Krishna rides on the chariots of their minds. And just to receive loving service from them, he attracts their minds like Cupid. Therefore, he is also called Madan Mohan, the attractor of Cupid. Cupid has 5 arrows representing form, taste, smell, sound, and touch. Krishna is the owner of these 5 arrows, and with his Cupid-like beauty, he conquers the minds of the gopis, though they are very proud of their super excellent beauty. Becoming a new Cupid, Krishna attracts their minds and engages in the rasa dance. When Lord Krishna wanders in the forest of Vrindavan with his friends on an equal level, there are innumerable cows grazing. This is another of the Lord's blissful enjoyments. When he plays on his flute, all living entities, including trees, plants, animals, and human beings, tremble and are saturated with jubilation. Tears flow constantly from their eyes. Krishna wears a pearl necklace that appears like a chain of white herons around his neck. The peacock feather in his hair appears like a rainbow, and his yellow garments appear like lightning in the sky. Krishna appears like a newly risen cloud, and the gopis appear like newly grown grains in the field. Constant rains of the nectarian pastimes fall upon these newly grown grains, and it seems that the gopis are receiving beams of life from Krishna, exactly as grains receive life from the rains. What incredible poetry Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is expressing to Srila Sanatana Goswami, not even aware of his external situations, circumstances, surroundings. He's completely submerged in the overwhelming, heart-rending pastimes and the glories of Krishna's sweetness. That pearl necklace, it is stated within the 3rd canto that Krishna wears a pearl necklace. Lord Vishnu wears a pearl necklace. The Lord always wears a pearl necklace, but that pearl necklace represents the devotees who are always surrendered to the Supreme Lord's heart, resting on his broad chest, taking shelter of the very heart of the Supreme Lord. And thus, the Lord always wears a pearl necklace, reminding himself of his devotees who are resting on him like pearls strung on a thread. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is full in all 6 opulences, including his attractive beauty, which engages him in conjugal love with the gopis. Such sweetness is the quintessence of his qualities. Shukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, has described these pastimes of Krishna throughout Srimad Bhagavatam. Hearing the descriptions, the devotees become mad with love of God. Just as the women of Mathura ecstatically describe the fortune of the gopis of Vrindavan and the transcendental qualities of Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu described the different mellows of Krishna and became overwhelmed with ecstatic love. Grasping the hand of Sanatan Goswami, he recited the following verse. What austerities must the gopis have performed? With their eyes, they always drink the nectar of the form of Lord Krishna, which is the essence of loveliness and is not to be equaled or surpassed. That loveliness is the only abode of beauty, fame, and opulence. It is self-perfect, ever fresh, and unique. In many commentaries, it is stated that in this particular verse, because these are the ladies of Mathura city speaking, the words are very, very deliberately used to show that Krishna never really leaves Vrindavan. They say that Krishna's original form of Govinda stays. And an expansion, which is Vasudev Krishna, that is the form that goes to Mathura. And it says that clues and hints are given. The ladies of Mathura say, with their eyes, they always drink the nectar of the form of Lord Krishna. Nothing in that sentence is past tense. It said that they always drink the nectar, showing that even they understand that Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. And therefore the gopis are always engaged in constantly drinking the nectar of the form of Krishna. The loveliness is the only abode of beauty, fame, and opulence. It is self-perfect, ever fresh, and unique. The bodily beauty of Sri Krishna is like a wave in the ocean of eternal youth. And that great ocean is the whirlpool of the awakening of ecstatic love. The vibration of Krishna's flute is like a whirlwind, and the flickering minds of the gopis are like straws and dry leaves. After they fall down in the whirlwind, they never rise again, but remain eternally at the lotus feet of Krishna. Oh, my dear friend, what severe austerities have the gopis performed to drink his transcendental beauty and sweetness through their eyes in complete fulfillment. Thus they glorify their births, bodies, and minds. The sweetness of Krishna's beauty enjoyed by the gopis is unparalleled. Nothing is equal to or greater than such ecstatic sweetness. Even the predominating deities of the Vaikuntha planets, the Narayans, do not possess such sweetness. Indeed, none of the incarnations of Krishna up to Narayan possess such transcendental beauty. The vivid evidence in this regard is that the dearest consort of Narayan, the goddess of fortune, who is worshipped by all chaste women, gave up everything in her desire to enjoy Krishna, being captivated by his unparalleled sweetness. Thus, she took a great vow and underwent severe austerities. The quintessence of Krishna's sweet bodily luster is so perfect that there is no perfection above it. He is the immutable mine of all transcendental qualities. In his other manifestations and personal expansions, there is only a partial exhibition of such qualities. Both the gopis and Krishna are complete. The gopis' ecstatic love is like a mirror that becomes newer and newer at every moment and reflects Krishna's bodily luster and sweetness. Thus, competition increases, since neither give up, their pastimes become newer and newer, and both sides constantly increase. Krishna says between he and his devotees, there is a competition. Who can love who more? Who is acting for the pleasure of whom more? And because Krishna is unlimited, he presents his devotees with this unlimited quality to serve him more and more. And in this way, the competition constantly increases unlimitedly. And this competition is one where there is no end. It is an ocean with no shore and no bottom, constantly ever growing in sweetness. The transcendental mellows generated from the dealings between the gopis and Krishna cannot be tasted by means of fruitive activity, yogic austerities, speculative knowledge, regulative devotional service, mantra yoga, or meditation. This sweetness can be tasted only through the spontaneous love of liberated persons who chant the holy names with great ecstatic love. Sachinandan Maharaj writes in that spiritual tonic that even if we are performing devotional service, if we do it without love, at some point we may fall away, thinking, why am I doing this? Why am I undertaking such a burden? This is creating such a hindrance in my life. I could be doing other things. And so we may not relish the sweetness of even devotional service. But if we have love, then somehow we have everything. Because this sweetness can be tasted only through the spontaneous love of liberated persons who chant the holy names with great ecstatic love. Beauty, humility, mercy, merit, patience, and expert intelligence are all manifested in Krishna. But besides these, Krishna has other qualities like good behavior, mildness, and magnanimity. We heard a little bit of that magnanimity with his 210 million cows given in charity every day. He also performs welfare activities for the whole world. All these qualities are not visible in expansions like Lord Narayan. After seeing Krishna, various people criticize the blinking of their eyes. In Vrindavan especially, all the gopis criticize Lord Brahma because of this defect in the eyes. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited some verses from Srimad Bhagavatam and explained them vividly, thus enjoying the taste of transcendental sweetness with great happiness. All men and women are accustomed to enjoying the beauty of the shining face of Lord Krishna, as well as his shark-shaped earrings swinging on his ears, his beautiful features, his cheeks, and his playful smiles, all combined to form a constant festival for the eyes. And the blinking of the eyes became obstacles that impeded one from seeing that beauty. For this reason, men and women became very angry at the Creator. Oh Krishna, when you go to the forest during the day and we do not see your sweet face, which is surrounded by beautiful curly hair, half a second becomes as long as an entire age for us. And we consider the Creator, who has put eyelids on these eyes we use for seeing you, to be simply a fool. The face of Krishna is the king of all moons, and the body of Krishna is the throne. Thus the king governs a society of moons. Krishna has two cheeks that shine like glowing gems. Both are considered full moons. His forehead is considered a half moon, and the spot of sandalwood there is considered a full moon. His fingernails are many full moons, and they dance on the flute in his hand. Their song is the melody of that flute. His toenails are also many full moons, and they dance on the ground. Their song is the jingling of his ankle bells. Krishna's face is the enjoyer king. That full moon face makes his shark-shaped earrings and lotus eyes dance. His eyebrows are like bows, and his eyes are like arrows. His ears are fixed on the string of that bow, and when his eyes spread to his ears, he pierces the hearts of the gopis. The dancing features of his face surpass all other full moons and expand the marketplace of full moons. Although priceless, the nectar of Krishna's face is distributed to everyone. Some purchase the moon rays of his sweet smiles, and others purchase the nectar of his lips. Thus he pleases everyone. Krishna has two reddish, widely spread eyes. These are the ministers of the king, and they subdue the pride of Cupid, who also has beautiful eyes. That face of Govinda, which is full of happiness, is the home of the pastimes of beauty, and it is very pleasing to everyone's eyes. In this regard, at the very end of the chapter, it is stated, if anyone gets an opportunity to hear about the sweetness of Krishna in this chapter, Chaitanya Charitamrita, he will certainly be eligible to float in the transcendently blissful ocean of love of God. It is then that I wanted to structure our whole gathering around this chapter. What a benediction we get. Certainly eligible to float in the transcendently blissful ocean of love of God. I pray that for all of us. And I thank you so much for listening to the opulence and the sweetness of Lord Sri Krishna.
Thank you very much, Acyuta Gopi Devi Dasi, for such a nectarian and graphically clear description of the spiritual world. And it really transports us. And this is the power that you're showing. You're demonstrating the power of the spiritualized holy words that, you can take us all when we're sitting in our different places and join together, go to the spiritual world and see what it's like. They're giving us a glimpse of the Lord. So thank you very, very much. Hare Krishna. If anybody else has any quick questions or comments, we have 1 or 2 minutes. If you have any comments or any kind of words, please, you can use the raise hand feature and I'll unmute you. We have just 1 or 2 minutes, but I just wanted to thank you on behalf of all the devotees who joined also on YouTube, which we're broadcasting live, and all the devotees here on Zoom. We have devotees from all over the world, including Europe and Australia and India. And these are all regular members of our Sangha. And so we really love it when we hear such wonderful descriptions of the Lord spoken so eloquently and with so much depth of love. So I'm going to make a couple of announcements before we go on to the thanks. So let me see. So upcoming events. We have from the Bhakti Center a very wonderful series, a 10-part series on the 9 processes of devotion. It's called the Pathways to Perfection. And so far we've already covered 4 lectures and there's another 6 remaining. So please join us every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time on this tinyurl.com/Bhakti Center. This is a different Zoom link. This is hosted by the Bhakti Center, of course, and also co-hosted by ISKCON of New Jersey, New York, Virginia, and Gitanagari. So please join for that. And if you have missed the previous sessions, you can catch them also on the YouTube channel, tinyurl.com, temple@BC, Temple at Bhakti Center. So that is the channel. You can also watch it live on YouTube if you prefer instead of Zoom. So please be sure to join on Saturday. On this channel, we have programs every evening except for Saturday. So 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We have on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, His Holiness Jai Advaita Swami Maharaj taking us through the 2nd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and we'll be starting tomorrow the prayers of Shukadeva Goswami. Very beautiful prayers, and so please join for that. You will really love it. It's a very interactive and highly engaging session. So Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And of course, today we had Acyuta Gopi Devi Dasi. And tomorrow we have Shyamananda Das from ISKCON of Mumbai in Chowpatty. And he is also one of the very good speakers that we've had on this forum. So please be sure to join for that on Thursday. And then on Sunday, we have His Grace Radhika Raman Prabhu. Radhika Raman Prabhu is a scholar and a professor of religion and one of the members of the Shastic Advisory Committee. And so his talks are also very well regarded and appreciated. So please be sure to join. I'd like to request His Grace Nilamani Prabhu to offer us a word of thanks on behalf of our temple. Nilamani Prabhu is our temple president, ISKCON of New Jersey. Of course, he's been very busy lately. We have made a lot of progress on our new temple site. If you see our new temple back there right behind me. So if you can go to our website, iskonparsippany.org. That's the one that's up here. You'll be able to see some of our updates. In fact, today they started, last couple of days they started pouring the foundation of it, and you can see now where the walls are going to come up. It's really, really very exciting. It's really wonderful. Go ahead, Nilman Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Acyuta Devi. Thank you for another wonderful descriptive. So you have such an immense ability to tell stories and describe things so vividly and graphically. Really, ability to absorb your audience and absorb all of us and as Madan Gopal said, transporting us all to the spiritual world for the last hour or so. So thank you so much for a wonderful rendition and description. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And I'd like to request everyone else, if you can unmute yourselves and you can offer a quick word of thanks to Acyuta Gopi for such a wonderful session. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat, Hari Bol.
Hare Bo.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for such a wonderful lecture.
Thank you, Acyuta Gopi. Haribo. Wonderful.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Acyuta Gopi.
So much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs.
Hare
Gopi. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Mrs.
Krishna.
Gopi.
Thank you very much. Beautiful lecture. Thank you.
You want to put this in the
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for the class.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Jai.
Hare Krishna. Jai.
Jai.
Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe, Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol.